It's really cute. Okay, I have to try it with the skirt. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Karla. Hello and welcome. So one of you requested that I create a matching top to my ballerina skirt. First of all, thank you guys so much for all the love that the video is getting. I mean, that is literally my most viewed video of my entire life. Something that I actually edited. So thank you guys so much. I am overwhelmed and grateful to you all. So again, thank you so much. By the way, thank you Lily for the suggestion. She requested that I create a blouse that she saw, or recreate a blouse that she saw on Realisation Park, and I'm actually really obsessed with it. Unfortunately though, like, this is literally all I have left from that skirt, from the ballerina skirt. I'm gonna use this as our lining, and then look at this fabric. It is so pretty, and I love that it's like kind of see-through. So I believe it's a chiffon and has that like gauze texture to it. I don't know, it's so pretty. We're gonna use this for the whole entire thing, and then we're just gonna line the bust area and perhaps the cuffs too. We'll see. We're gonna play with it and see how it goes. So yeah, let's start draping. Let's go. Okay, so as much as I want to make this exactly like the Bennie top, because obviously she's a beaut, I would rather use it as an inspiration and make this one my own, because first of all, I have a shorter torso, so I'm gonna have to modify a little bit and make this more flattering for my body type. Yes! I like where this is going! Oh my gosh. And if you haven't noticed already, I am draping with a poly charmeuse. It's another leftover fabric that I used for a wedding dress that I made in the past. Normally I drape with a muslin, but I'm trying to be cost efficient here and save a little bit of time, because if I were to drape this on muslin, I would then transfer it back to charmeuse just to see how it looks. So I actually prefer using charmeuse from the get-go. That way I can see how the fabric reacts and how the top looks like, since the real fabric that I'll be using will be chiffon lined with charmeuse. So this is perfect. So since I'm making the torso a little bit shorter to flatter my body type, I don't need to add princess seams. So this blouse will really only consist of 6 pieces, which are the upper and lower front and back bodices, the sleeve, and the cuff. So as you can see here, I am just adding 3/8 of seam allowance in all of my patterns. And then for my lower torso, since I don't have a 23-inch waist, I am extending it by 1/2 inch just along the side seam around the hem area, keeping the underbust the same measurement. And then for the upper back bodice, I am extending the center back hem by like 3/4 just to make the back a little billowy, to give it some ease. And then I just go ahead and repeat what I did to the front torso, now to my back, and extending that 1/2 inch along the side seam on the waist. Alright, so for the sleeve, I'm gonna just measure from my shoulder blade, 19 inches. So the Kaia top looks like the wristband is about 3 inches. I think I'm gonna make it a little longer. I'm gonna make it to 4 inches. Alright, so I am actually drafting the sleeve and the cuff, and I am doing that from an original size 2 pattern that I already own. I was honestly debating whether or not I should include the entire tutorial on how to do the sleeve. I feel like that's a whole entire new video. But let me know if you guys are interested in how I did this, because I'd be more than happy to create a whole new video just on how I did the sleeves. Anyway, just to summarize what I'm doing here, I'm basically doing a slash and spread method. I divided my original pattern into 4 sections and spreading it a total of about 2 1/4 inches. So that's about 3/4 in between. And then for the cuff, nothing crazy. I am basically just tracing my original pattern 4 inches up from the hem. Although I will be playing with the cuffs in a little bit, just note that it will be cut to self because I will be cutting it on fold along the hem instead of it being a regular hem. I'll explain it later. So right now I'm just cutting my self fabric, and I'm pretty much just cutting 2 layers of each on all of them except for our back bodices, the upper and the lower, because they will both be cut on fold. Oh, and I almost forgot about the front. So the lower front bodice, we will cut 4 of those actually. Haha. Alright, so for the cuff, this is what I was talking about. I am cutting it on fold along the hemline. So instead of cut 4, it should just only be cut to self. Now for the lining, I am only cutting 1 piece for the back, like so, and then stitching it around because I'll be treating this as one from now on. If you also notice, I am using the wrong side facing out, so it'll be wrong sides facing each other. That way the shiny part of our lining will be the side touching the skin. And then just like what I did to the back, basically pinning it so I can stitch it around and treat each piece as one. And then for my spaghetti strings and loops, I go ahead and cut out bias strips that measures 1 inch wide. I basically just cut out as much as I could. Sorry, my phone died, hence the illustration. But basically I just folded it right sides together and stitched 1/4 of an inch until like midnight. So good. Hey Google, what time is it?
It's 9:09 a.m.
Oh my gosh, I slept so late last night. I think I slept at like midnight. It was actually, no, I stopped sewing at midnight. So I slept like around 1 and I woke up at 6. And I mean, you guys did see that I did start working on my spaghetti strings. That took a while because my machine was acting up. I think I sewed enough spaghetti strings. I think I went crazy. I got carried away a little bit. And then I also did this stuff. I cut them up into 1 3/4 inches for my loops. Anyway, so I want to show you guys the cuffs. I experimented with it last night and I actually like how it turned out. So normally I put fusing on this, but I really wanted the cuffs to be slightly transparent. So I'm just trying this out, and so far I actually really like it. And yeah, so now I just need the buttons and I can start on the sleeve. Anyway, I just wanted to say hi and let you guys know that I'm not ignoring you. Alright, so for my loop placement for my cuff, I go ahead and mark my hemline or hem fold first, and then placing my first loop about 1/4 inch above that, and then spreading out the rest of my loops 1 inch in between, and that should leave me with 4 loops each cuff. So after meticulously pinning each loop, I basically base stitch it on there and then folding the cuff right sides together and stitching that 3/8 seam allowance on both sides. And once I flip it inside out, it should look something like this. And then I repeat that process to the other cuff. Alright, I look like crap. So I am testing the sleeve first and see if I like it before I sew the other one. I feel like I've been making a lot of mistakes lately. Not bad. It's actually pretty cute. So down here I actually added about, I think 3/4, because once we put the cuff, I wanted to have this like okay. I guess it's a go. Alright, so for the sleeves, I went ahead and overlocked the edges except for this end here, because I'm going to overlock this together with the cuff. And then I also base stitched from the first notch from the center of the back sleeve to the front notch, and then I go ahead and gather. And then repeat it to the other sleeve. Alright guys, so after gathering the cap of the sleeve, I go ahead and fold it lengthwise, right sides together, and then I'm gonna measure 2.5 inches from the edge, because I want to leave a slit there, and then do the same to the other sleeve. And then I just go ahead and stitch from this edge down to the 2.5 inch mark. And then you can go ahead and iron this flat. When I get to this part, I'm basically just gonna double roll this. So when sewing my slit open, I am double rolling both edges, and I just slowly pivot it, trying to create a half square, almost an eighth on the top of the slit. And when you're done, it should look something like this on the inside, and then on the outside, it should look something like this. And then repeat the same process to the other sleeve. And then before attaching my cuff to my sleeve, I go ahead and base stitch around the edges of my sleeve and proceed by gathering both of them. Once I'm done, I then go ahead and place my cuff right sides together, and then pinning the edges first and trying to even out the gathers, basically making it fit the cuff. And once I'm happy with it, I just go ahead and stitch it in place. And once I'm done, I then go ahead and overlock the raw edges here, and then repeat the process to the other sleeve. And then I go ahead and put together my lower back bodice or my torsos, right sides together, and sew it along the hemline. So the same goes with the front pieces. I'm basically putting 2 layers together, right sides facing each other, right sides facing each other, and then sewing along the hemline separately. And I also went ahead and overlocked the pieces after sewing them together. And now I'm just trying to pin the front pieces to the back piece, right sides together, making sure that the hemlines are matching, of course. I then go ahead and sew those sides with 3/8 seam allowance. And once I'm done, it should look something like this. Now I'm ready to attach my loops. Alright, we're almost there. Okay, so attaching the spaghetti loops on my torso pieces, or torso piece I should say, is basically very similar to what I did to the cuffs. The only difference is that I want the spaghetti loops on here to be about 3/4 away from each other. So I start by measuring out 3/4 from the top edge of the front piece and marking that with a chalk, and then basically repeating that process 6 more times or until I get to the hemline. And then I just base stitch it 1 loop at a time. This takes forever and a day, by the way, but it's super worth it. Basically after doing one side, I basically just repeat the same exact process to the other, and then folding the pieces right sides together, again stitching it 3/8 of an inch from the edge, and then flipping it inside out, and voila! How pretty! I know, cute, right? Oh my gosh, finally the upper bodice. So right now I am just facing the front and the back right sides together and pinning it along the shoulder and the side seam, and then sewing it together. Alright, so this part is optional, you guys. I basically decided last minute that I want to face the neckline just because it looks cleaner that way. You definitely can double roll it and call it a day, but I won't be who I am if I'm not being extra right now. So yes, I am cutting my self fabric. I am just gonna face it about 2 inches wide, and then I'm gonna add interfacing, which I forgot to film, and then attaching that on the shoulder. I have no idea why I'm talking like this, but I feel the rush. When I was doing this, it was so last minute. I thought I was never gonna finish it. Anyway, here we are, just attaching the facing around my neck. First pinning it, of course, and then stitching it 3/8 of an inch like so, and then edge stitching it for a cleaner finish. Ugh, gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. Anyway, I went ahead and pinned my lower bodice piece to my upper bodice, and it looks something like this. And then I'm gonna go ahead and sew this now. And then my camera died, so voila! This is how it looks like after I sew it together. I also went ahead and overlocked it too. And now I'm ready to attach my sleeves. Holla! Yo, true story though, I had a dream last night and I swear I already hand sewed this buttons on. I mean, apparently not. Anyway, yes, basically hand sewing these babies. Luckily, I still have a few of these beautiful gold round buttons. They work perfectly and look, gorgeous, right?
What do you guys think? Ah! Does it look cute together or what? Go ahead.
You say that I go out to get you off my mind. We've been done for